What's up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my own review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. It starts off with Melody. She is teaching upcoming entrepreneurs on how to bid on property that are foreclosed by the banks. Property preservation, which is one of her many businesses that she started after she left her marriage. And property preservation is just maintaining foreclosed properties for banks. And if you see a property you want to bid on, you can get it cleaned up, get it renovated for a new sale, someone who wants to use it as a pet project, a fixer-upper, resell it. A multi-billion dollar industry that is fascinating. Okay, I had no idea of how much goes into property preservation because I did have my interest in real estate. I still do. And to have property preservation under my belt is something that me and my husband should look into. So it is a good thing for upcoming entrepreneurs to take a part of this because it is a multi-billion dollar industry. Kimmy came over. Kimmy was introduced to Keith, which is a property investor who has sold multiple properties in the last couple of years. And Melody wanted them to exchange phone numbers, exchange connections, because Maurice and Kimmy are creating a closing property company. So maybe you guys can come together and see y'all can talk about properties and everything, which I enjoy. I enjoy, Melody helping Kimmy out in that aspect. Still looking forward to her business succeeding, especially while she's going through radiation and her journey and everything. And that's where Kimmy's at right now. Kimmy is ready to get back into work because she wants to have a separate thing that she can focus on and be happy in versus than what she has to deal with at home. But before we get into that, Kimmy brings up the tea. Did Melody enjoy the tea? She said she did. She wished things got more resolved. But then Kimmy wanted to bring up, how did you think the resolvement between you and Stormy went? Did you guys resolve things, or did you expect for Stormy's mom to have an issue with you? Melody didn't know that Stormy's mom had an issue with her. She was surprised that she was coming, let alone have an issue. But why didn't Kimmy ask the same question to Stormy? Because she asked, did you think her and Mel issue got resolved? No, their issue didn't get resolved because it got overshadowed by Stormy's mom having an issue that wasn't resolved either. So I wonder why Stormy didn't ask Stormy the same question. Why Kimmy did not ask Stormy, why did your mom have an issue with Mel? Because to this day, Stormy's mother's issues are based off of her having a disdain for Mel from watching the show. She doesn't have an actual reason to not like Mel. Then Kimmy brings up Tiffany and Kiki getting into it at Martel's event. And Melody was like, really? Because they had lunch at my house and they ended things. They resolved things. They were cool. So Kimmy did not know that Kiki and Tiffany had a conversation at Melody's house where they rehashed their issues and they're working on becoming cordial, being cool, right? So how can that come to an agreement but get back to a disagreement at Martel's event because Stormy came in and wanted to bring back old information to bring back the issue up again. That's what happened. So Melody hope they haven't started back up again because we really don't know the real root of the issue between Tiffany and Kiki. I feel like it's a misjudgment and possibly a miscommunication that occurred. I feel like that. But considering the fact that Stormy could not let Tiffany and Kiki just let them be cool for a minute and wanted them to be back at odds again is beyond me. You know what I'm saying? So Kimmy also mentioned a confessional that she's not about to mention that Sheree was at Martel's event because Melody has said she does not need to know any updates about what is going on with Martel. Don't know what's going on in his personal life, don't care to know. So Kimmy is respecting her wishes. Then Kimmy is talking about picking and choosing where her energy needs to be in. And as far as being a part of the group, that's not where her energy gets rifled and stressed out. No, her major stress is her home. Figuring out this co-parenting thing between Maurice Jr. and Kawa, okay? Because it's all about Maurice not backing Kimmy up with disciplining his son, even though that's what Maurice wants Kimmy to do, but he does not back her up. And she's tired of her being the only one implementing rules, implementing discipline, and Maurice doesn't do anything to accept the situation. He doesn't back her up, he doesn't implement them himself. And I feel like, how long do you expect to deal with this, Kimmy? Because I feel like you shouldn't have to stress yourself out to be on Maurice's shoulders. But that's what he expects for you to do. take over his responsibility so he could be the only one to say, yeah, that's what I want us to do. Because Maurice likes to say stuff. He's a talker, not a doer. And it's a bunch of BS to me that Kimmy has to deal with this and going through radiation. That's a lot. I feel like Kimmy's life should be on easy street when it comes to this. Maurice needs to step it up more. Anyway, Tiffany. Tiffany's meeting up with Stormy because she's confused about what happened between her and Kiki. We left Mel's house on a good note, and then Stormy wanted to come in and bring up all this drama. So I'm happy that Tiffany is recognizing that Stormy was the one who wanted to bring the mess back up again, and she's like, why? And said, whose side is she on? She on nobody's side, Tiffany. I feel like she's on the side of going against everything that Mel is trying to do to bring the group back to a good setting because she's not there. She's not ready to move on to what she's holding on to with her issue with Mel. So they sit down. They talk about the event. Then Tiffany mentions Kiki came over and you wanted to bring up everything. So Stormy said you didn't know about the text message. Okay, yes, a text message about her liking the tweet about Kiki coming on the show. That should not have been on you to mention, Stormy, because Tiffany mentioned how they went to Mel's house, rehashed everything. They were good. Stormy said, well, y'all weren't good because the text message was there. Y'all didn't hash everything out, so you guys are not good. In Stormy's mind, since everything was not put out on the table, then nothing else is good. You guys are not in a good place because there's still some things lingering. But my thing is, Stormy, why is it up to you? Why are you putting your nose into why you can't understand why Kiki and Tiffany could be good if this is still there? That wasn't your place to do it. That wasn't your business to do it. Why are you making it your business to get Kiki and Tiffany to put everything out on the table for them to fix their issues? Mind your business. That wasn't for you to do. And I feel like you're making it as if Melody's way of having them communicate, a way of having them resolve the issues doesn't sit well with you. So you want to go against Mel's version of how to communicate differently, how to resolve issues by saying, wait, hold up, before you guys fake the funk, let's talk about this though, because this is still lingering. Not up to you, Stormy. Because I just feel like if you want to say nothing was out on the table, nothing was resolved because everything wasn't put out, then you put out your issue with Mel, Stormy. Because at the tea, your mom came out the gate with an issue and you didn't say anything. You allowed for your mom to become ignorant, rude, disrespectful, and you didn't say nothing. So why are you making it seem as if Melody's way didn't make any sense, but the way your mom wanted to come at Mel was any better? I don't know. Tiffany's probably looking at Stormy like, girl, did you set me up for this? Because then Stormy mentioned how she had a one-on-one with Kiki and that Kiki was cool. She was articulate. I think you might have misjudged her. I think you might look at her differently now. Well, she might have, Stormy, if you did not bring up that text message. She could have reached that point of figuring out who Kiki was on her own. Might have realized Kiki is actually a good person had you just let them be good. But you don't want them to be good. So it's giving me a switch. You wanted to bring up more mess to put them more at odds, but yet you can say you had a conversation with Kiki and she was cool, she was calm. Then I don't get it. That was the whole point of the tea. Like that Stormy feels like if everything's out on the table, then we're not good. Then Stormy, put up your issue with Mel. Call up Mel, because obviously you're still holding on to an issue that you have with Mel, but you want to put everybody else on task of resolving issues, put everything out on the table, but you're not doing it. So before we get more into that, they have a quick conversation about Tiffany having a conversation with Sheree, how it was cool. And just surprising to know that Sheree hasn't met Mel, and you're hanging around this man. You know he has kids. You know what type of man he is, and you still haven't met Mel. In certain circumstances, that's what you're not supposed to do. If you're publicly dating a man who has an ex-wife who's in a co-parent situation, you should meet the mother first before the kids. But we know why Martel is going the way that he's going, because he wants the buzz, he wants the media, he wants the limelight. Not only does he want the limelight, so does Sheree. I said it before, this is a publicity stunt. This is a storyline for both of them. Martel wants to be seen in a different light, and having someone like Sheree on his arm puts him in a different light. Sheree, same thing. She wants to get away from the embarrassment of Tyrone and get with another problematic man who knows have a name in the media for multiple things. This man is in the media for seeking full custody, having a revenge porn against Mel, calling out the babysitters, but don't have proof of the babysitters. Like, this man has done a lot of taunting things to his ex-wife, but having both of these people together is going to create buzz. Okay? And she wants to know, because you're coming into the group, and I want to know, how does it feel to date somebody with a reputation of being a cheater? And she's like, that's a lot to ask for something you don't know. Tiffany said, I'm nosy. What did you expect? I have to commend Tiffany for keeping the buck. She nosy. But I love that Tiffany isn't going along with everyone pretending as if y'all don't have the same questions. Y'all don't have the same concerns. You know what type of man Martel is. Why would a woman want to date him? Why? As if you're not seeing what he's done to Melody all the way from the divorce till now. Are you kidding me? So it's, yeah, you're not about to act like the information about Martel cheating is a big secret. It's not. It's been on a public platform since the show started. We've seen it from season 1 till now. So saying that, wondering, did she know Mel? Because apparently Mel went to the book signing and insinuated that Mel was a fan of Sheree. No, she wasn't a fan of Sheree. Turns out Melody was a paid speaker at the event. So the fact that she was a paid speaker had nothing to do with Sheree being there. Then Stormy wanted to talk about Nell bringing up the tension between her and Mel at the tea party, and feel like, then I'm not crazy. If Nell can pick up the energy, then I don't know what's going on. Maybe because it started off with you having an issue, Stormy. That's why. But who is making it seem as if you don't have an issue with Mel? Nobody. I just think that your issue isn't an issue. You're really trying hard to have one. So Tiffany wanted to know, are you going to air out your issue, or are you going to sweep it under the rug? But she felt like she had no issue. She felt like she had no feelings about it. You obviously do. Because at the tea, I felt like you dismissed the opportunity to hash out your issue with Mel. And I thought that it was already hashed out before, because you had an issue with not knowing her number change, and having an issue about her not explaining to you that she tends to distance herself from everybody when the season ends. But you knew that about her already. So what else are you upset about? Are you still mad that she did not come out and defend you with how you did not record her? You can miss me with that, Stormy. You have a public platform as well. You have a social media presence. Hire somebody to help you navigate on when people are coming at you with information that's not true. Just shut them down. Block the comments. The same thing your mother did. Your mother wanted to blame Mel about how she didn't stick up for you because you did not record her. If you know you didn't, just say it wasn't me. And then she said that the tea was a manipulated environment. I don't know what that means, because nothing was manipulated in my opinion. I just think that you just don't like the way Melody wanted things to be calm, cool, and collected. Melody wanted to have a different environment where we can all calm down, speak respectfully, speak more clearly of what our issues are. You feel like cussing and fussing and yelling is the best way to resolve an issue. That's not everybody, Stormy. And that's why I said in my last video, you did not take in the lesson that every incident doesn't have to be a yelling and fussing and cussing. Every environment does not have to be that. There are going to be times where you might have to be in a calm tone, be in a calm setting to air out your issues, air out your concerns. Just like how the way you wanted to yell at Kiki at the spa wasn't the right place for that. The spa was not the time or the place for you to yell and fuss. Like the tea, you want to be like, I can curse. Nobody's saying you can't curse, but you need to look at what the scenario is. That's why Melly had the tea. To recognize that not every situation needs to be all that rah, rah, rah. But that's where you have an issue, because you want to be so real. You want to be so raw about it, but you can't look at things differently. But you want to look at everybody else differently, but not you. That ain't going to work for me. That's so not going to work for me. Then saying that her mom felt happy with what was said. I'm happy my mom got things off her chest. But then that's what you wanted to happen, though, Stormy. You wanted your mom to come at Mel that way because your mom had an issue from jump, and you knew that coming in. So the fact that you said, I'm happy my mom got her stuff out the way, why didn't you say something? You had the floor, too. You could have been like, you know what, Mom, since you want to air out your issues, I'm happy you did. Melody, I have an issue with you, and this is how I feel. You could have had the floor, but you allowed for your mom to fight your battles for you. And that's my issue. So the fact that you want to tell everybody else on how they should rehash issues, how they should address issues, you're not doing it as well. Because you are not about to make me seem as if you have an issue, but then you don't have an issue. Because I'm literally annoyed with what issue you have with Mel. Because I can't find it. Anyway, um, yeah, that was pretty much it. Because I don't know why Stormy is acting as if she doesn't have a problem, but she has a problem, but still expects for everybody else to put everything out on the table. But you're not doing it. Make that make sense for me. And you're putting your nose in other people's business has nothing to do with you. So even though Tiffany did what she did with Sheree, everybody else was afraid to do it. Tiffany wasn't. I'm gonna move on. Tisha. Tisha's running around with Kiki. They were talking about their time when they went to A&M together, how they shared a 2-bedroom apartment. Now they're going to the university to watch a basketball game. But before they get into that, they catch up about what happened at Martel's event. Kiki wanted to address Tisha about airing out the text message. She did not tell Tisha to tell anybody else. She only had that in her back pocket just in case Tiffany got out of pocket about not knowing her. But Tisha said, I did that for you because people were coming at you. They saying how you're doing too much, but I wanted to defend you in that moment. Well, Tisha, you could have defended her when it came down to the spa when Tiffany and Storm was yelling at Kiki. But you sat there and be quiet. You wanted to shut Stormy down when it came down to the infidelity conversation. But you didn't say nothing else. Then at the tea, when Tiffany still wanted to say she didn't know Kiki, you didn't even stop her and say, I don't know how you say you don't know her, but you received a text message from her. I just told Kimmy and Stormy about what she sent you. You didn't say that in that moment when it came down to Tiffany and Kiki. You only wanted to address Tiffany about her talking about your business. And like I said, Kiki wanted to keep that in her back pocket. But when Stormy wanted to bring it out that it was a text message, Kiki wasn't about to be fake and say that's not true. I think Tisha brings up Stormy telling the girls about Tiffany talking about Tisha's business. Now, this is something else. I said it last week. When it came down to Stormy telling everybody what Tiffany said, I'm like, why are we not looking at Stormy? She was there when she partook in the information. She was the one who brought it up. But everybody's looking at Tiffany. Even though I said my piece about Tiffany, but I've also felt like Stormy's being just as messy as Tiffany. So pretty much, the conversation about Tisha isn't really on the business like that. She's just the face. Marcel controls everything, which we know to be true. Like, Tisha, you're not about to make it seem as if what we're seeing is not what we're seeing. Tiffany did not make anything up. You were kicked out of your office. Your husband did not communicate with you about putting on a business partner. And how, why aren't you talking about my marriage again when I just talked about this in Vegas? In Vegas, where everybody else's relationship was being talked about, the whole yelling between Martel and Mel, like Marceau calling Kimmy a side chick, all of that was talked about. You're not about to make it seem as if everyone can talk about Martel and Mel's marriage, everyone can talk about Lewis and Tiffany, but can't nobody talk about Tisha and Marceau? You gotta be kidding me. Just like how you looked at a fool in Vegas at your wedding renewal, your marriage renewal, Marceau made you like a fool, and Lewis and Tiffany made the show better. And when Lewis called out Marceau for not communicating with you about how you were different, you had an issue. This is my thing. Like, I don't like the fact that Tisha want to act like people just out here trying to mess up her marriage when she does it to everybody else. When she's hearing anything about what her husband does to her, she goes, well, she might want to be careful because there's a rumor about her. Then spill it, Tisha. Then spill it. Spill it. You want to say be careful, girl. Your husband's not careful about how he treats you. There are many things that you guys have not talked about that get swept up under the rug when you guys want to point out somebody else's problems. Just like how your marriage is on reality TV. Everyone has talked about your marriage. You're not about to say you're exempt from people talking about your marriage when you do the same thing. You want to say that Tiffany is allegedly cheating or has cheating on Lewis with her business partner. That came out of your mouth, but it didn't come out of your mouth clearly. It took for Kiki to say it clearly. So I don't know if you set Kiki up for the okie doke that she's the one who spread this information when you said it in the confessional, in the scene, that there's a rumor out there about Tiffany allegedly having an affair or had an affair with her business partner. Knowing that Tiffany is pregnant and you want to air out that type of rumor, that don't make you no better than what you called Mel, in my eyes. So it's just funny to me how Tisha wants to act like people are just out for her as if she doesn't do the same thing to other people. Tiffany and Lewis, they are at her ultrasound to see pictures of the baby, and it didn't take them 12 months to get pregnant. It took barely a week. And now Lewis is still telling Tiffany, are you going to be as busy as you are once the baby gets here? She doesn't want to miss out on work. She can take maternity leave, but she doesn't want to be longer than she needs to. Tiffany doesn't have her schedule be switched, fixed, anything, because people normally say when you do have children, you have to prioritize your schedule for everyone to be accommodated for, because you're not going to be able to get up and go like you would normally would if you've had older children. When you have younger children, you have to make things make sense with your schedule. And she feels like we're not going to slow down. Everything's going to be just how it was, and we're going to be fine. Tiffany, moving on. Kimmy. Kimmy is prepping for dinner for her, Maurice, and Junior. I don't like the fact that Kimmy still operates in the mindset of cooking and cleaning. She really should not have to do all that. She really should rest. Just like how Maurice wants her to slow down and rest, she should rest on certain things. Cooking for y'all, she ain't gonna do like that on a daily basis. Not right now. Y'all gonna either fix yourselves something to eat or order out. I don't like that she's always in the kitchen prepping for him. I don't like it. Then what happened? Oh, Maurice and Kimmy talk about the upscale event. Did you like it? Yeah. How did you feel about Sheree? Different than what she expected Sheree to be, because from seeing her on TV, and people tend to look at celebrities on the screen different than they would in person. Feel like maybe Sheree is quiet. She tends to not put herself out there. I don't know. Junior comes in, hugs Kimmy. Maurice is happy to see him and Kimmy on good terms. She's always happy being around Junior. It's just wanting him to step up more is the problem. He said that getting him to listen isn't his strong suit. You might want to fix that, Father, because he's going to have to listen to somebody if he wants somebody to listen to him. Then it was Maurice acting like he helps out in the kitchen by putting dishes in the dishwasher, when that morning there were 2 plates left by the sink, and then I have the courtesy of putting them inside the sink, rinsing them out, or washing because you guys had to go. This excuse is that's why Maurice doesn't help around the house. So Maurice sent Junior to boot camp. In my mind, I'm thinking boot camp like barracks, a drill sergeant, a uniform. No. Maurice's version of boot camp is getting Junior to wake up early, go work out, set a goal for getting his grades up, figuring out a right college, and that's it. I'm like, that's not boot camp. That's just him waking up and talking to you. And in that boot camp, nothing else has changed. Okay, he's getting better at school, but what else is he needs to get better at? Involving himself in the house, handling more responsibilities. That's what he needs to do. So what has he learned from being in boot camp? Learn how to get up early. Maurice, he did not remember the script that you wanted him to remember because he's just looking dumb, confused like you are right now. So what? Okay, maintaining a good grade point average. Looking to find a good school with a football scholarship. What's next? All I heard was goals. Kimmy heard nothing about handling responsibilities as far as his chores. So besides you waking up early, what else have you learned? I heard nothing about chores. And here go Maurice. There's a list that we made, right? There was chores in there. No, they weren't. There were no chores. And are there any consequences if he doesn't follow through to what's on that list? Yeah, there's consequences. Like, Maurice, you didn't think this far ahead, did you? So, apparently, Kimmy wanted to know, out of the 20 things in that list, give me one that implements that you're going to handle more responsibility. Give me a number of what's on there. It's not that hard for you to find something on that list that requires for you to handle more responsibilities, that's showing you how you need to clean up more, handle your chores. You don't have nothing down there? Okay. Then, like at that point, Kimmy was over it. The way you don't have chores on this list is not surprising to me because for some odd reason, your father don't feel like he has to handle anything responsibility. You don't feel like you have to handle anything responsibly, but that's not how it's gonna work. It's not hard for your dad to handle his responsibilities, and it shouldn't be hard for you. So Kimmy feels like Maurice doesn't give him enough harsh consequences. No, Junior knows that Kimmy is more harder on him than Maurice, but his reason is not because he doesn't want to listen to her, it's because he be forgetting and he gets caught up on what he's doing. That says to me, you get caught up on watching TV, you get caught up on playing the game, you get caught up on doing nothing, and you're not prioritizing that if you have a responsibility to clean your room every week, wash dishes 2 times a week, take out the trash every week, then you're going to have to carve out some time to remember that because that's responsibility. As you get older, you're going to have to remember your responsibilities. If you know that you have to have your room cleaned up by the end of the week, then you have to implement some time to do that. Now, Kimmy understands when you be moving and moving and moving, you forget what you have to do, but we have to focus on that goal. And that goal is for you to handle your chores. Like, I don't understand. That's something that everybody needs to learn as they get older. Because you're not going to expect for your parents to still cook for you, clean up after you, take care of you. No. As you get older, we don't have to do that anymore. You're going to have to know when your clothes need to be washed. You're going to have to know when your room needs to be cleaned. You're going to have to look at that because your parents are not going to be the only one reminding you of that. You have to remind yourself. So maybe we need to do better in boot camp. Boot camp is not working, Maurice. This is just your way of acting like you're going to change anything, but you're not changing anything because you want Kimmy to just take over and do what you wouldn't do. Then, as far as like implementing chores, it's a given. But he said if it's important to you, then it is. It should be important to you regardless, Maurice, not only to Kimmy. Do you want your son to be lazy? Do you want your son to not know how to take care of himself? Not know how to wash a dish, put clothes away, separate his clothes when it comes to laundry? You want your son to be lazy? Okay. No, fine. I don't know if Maurice is trying not to give Junior the same harsh upbringing that he had, but you are in a much better position to give your son the same responsibilities and still learn that you are in a much better position than your father. Are you still jealous of your son that he's in a better position and you don't want, like, I don't understand. Then in the confessional, he completely dismisses her, but want to say, I didn't dismiss you. I just focus on my goals. It's the same thing, Maurice. Like Kimmy said, when I try to implement things, you dismiss what I say and focus on what you want to say. I don't dismiss you. I just focus on mine. It's the same thing. Kimmy, I swear, Kimmy wanted to curse Maurice out. She wanted to slap him. She wanted to curse him. She really holds back on how she really wants to act out in these scenes because she wants to keep things positive. She wants to keep things cool. No, but I just feel like, you know what, Kimmy? Why do you care so much about his son? I think you should just stick to what you do and let Maurice just fall. Don't cover for Maurice. Don't stand in line for Maurice. Don't speak for Maurice. Don't do anything for Maurice. Because Maurice is expecting for you to handle all of his responsibilities. That's why he wanted. Moving on. All right. We got Martel and Marceau. He is studying for his builder's license at Black. And Tiffany is coming over because Martel called up Tiffany to talk about an event in Selma. But when she got there, she saw Marceau. Tiffany do not like Marceau. She don't like him at all. So apparently, wondering how is Tiffany because she's getting bigger and bigger. She wants to be. People want her to be on bed rest, but she ain't going for it. And then talking about the upscale event, how was it? Martel said it was actually pretty cool. The highlight of it wasn't the event. The highlight was after the event. Tiffany was like, what? So the whole purpose of this was to talk about the conversation that Sheree had with Tiffany. That Martel used the purpose of talking about a project instead of talking about the issue. So wondering why did she grill Sheree like that? Tiffany said, "You surprised and I'm nosy? You saw how I got grilled coming to this group?" I said it before. I did not mind Tiffany asking the question that nobody was afraid to ask. So her asking Sheree this question that everybody wants to know wasn't surprising to me. I said it before. Yes, were they invasive? None of her business. Crossing boundaries. I don't care. It was Sheree. Because everybody wanted to know, but nobody wanted to ask. So this conversation is happening right in front of Marceau, and Marceau should have gotten his ass up and left the conversation, but no. He wanted to stay there, listen to the mess, and co-sign on something that he was not there for. So, she's asking, how does it feel coming to the group? And how does it feel to date somebody who's known to be a cheater? Martel with the defense. I'm not a cheater. You are a cheater. Then, of course, he can't handle when his shit's being brought out. He want to say, but you cheated too. Tiffany said, I cheated. You are a cheater. No, it's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. Tiffany admitted way before that she cheated and the reason why she cheated. And she left her relationship because of that. Martel, you cheated, carried on the affair while being married that led to a child. You are a cheater, pumpkin eater. I'm not about to go with semantics with you. I'm not. And it's not a out of bound, outlandish question. It's an actual valid question. How could you date somebody like Martel, who is a cheater? Here go Marceau. No, it wasn't Marceau. That was Martel. As educated as you are, you ask that question. Everybody wants to ask that question. Because it is a question everybody wants to know, Martel. How can someone date you with everything that you've been doing to Mel, everything you've been causing her? Somebody had to ask, how could someone date you? Because, what did she say? Oh, right. This is when Tiffany gets annoyed that I was brought here on false pretenses to talk about a project. And you want to bring up what I asked Sheree about? And not only do you have an issue with what I asked Sheree about, you got Marceau in the background, knowing that he gonna have a whole bunch of opinions that he should not be in. I wrote, you guys are just scary enough to ask the questions, and someone wanted to ask them. Then it was wondering, have Sheree and Mel had a conversation? Because how is it that she's around your kids, but she hasn't met Mel? Martel said, me and Mel are not even a good place for that. Exactly. The fact that if you are committed to being with someone and you know that you have a relationship with your ex-wife, you're sharing children, you know that Mel would have been your first stop to introduce someone to her. But the fact that you say you're not in a good place with her, that lets me know you and Sheree are not in a committed relationship. You're just using the relationship to create buzz, using it for publicity. So the way you went about it was an issue, and that's what you wanted. You wanted everyone to look at it. How can Martel do this but expect this? That's what you wanted. That's what Sheree wanted too. Yeah, in normal circumstances, if Martel and Mel were in a better place, it wouldn't be this hard for him to introduce somebody to Mel. But he wants to make it hard because we know his reputation. So we're not about to act like this isn't what he wanted. And yes, we wish for normal circumstances, but this is a normal circumstances. That's where Tiffany was coming from. Then when she did express where she had to work on, now Marceau want to say, is she an expert? No, she's not an expert, Marceau. She's just honest about where she fell flat on with her not being on the same page with her baby daddy at one time. That's what she's saying. Like Tiffany did not like the fact that Marceau was there giving his 2 cents, and I didn't either. Then Marceau wanted to say it was an insult of Tiffany asking Sheree, how does it feel dating a cheater? Not an insult. It's a valid question. An insult to who? To who? He's a cheater. I'm confused. But then he also said that Tiffany's pregnancy saved her. That if anybody was to be in Sheree's shoes, there would have been some retaliation. I was like, oh, you being a man is advocating for someone to put their hands on a woman says a lot to me. I've always said that Tiffany needs to be careful after she has that baby, and she needs to have the same energy about why did she ask those questions. I mean, she says it right here. You can't be this surprised that I'm nosy. I want to know for myself. She said it in the confessional when she was asking straight those questions. She wanted to know because everybody else on social media can tell he has feelings for Mel and that he has a reputation of being a cheater. how are you going to change that while this is circulating around this man? So I didn't like the fact that Marcel said that she should have gotten slapped. Okay, in real life circumstances, would have someone slapped Tiffany for saying that? Yeah, they would have. But on a reality show, ain't nobody that's gonna touch her. And you'd be damned if Lewis gonna allow that to happen. So then it was the conversation about, do you have feelings for Mel? And that because you got that good, that he won't do the same to you. That's another good kind of question if you think about it. Because that's like, what makes you so different from Melody? What makes you so different from Ariane? Because you put the pussy, you got that good, huh? That he wouldn't do the same thing to you? Because I don't know. That's another good question. So we know the truth to that question. He has feelings for Mel. And is the good that good that he won't do the same? No, it's not, because apparently Martel and Sheree have unfollowed each other. Could it have been this or something else that we don't know yet? So Marceau said that good P doesn't keep a guy. Commitment does. Well, that didn't apply to Marcel, because Melody said that she didn't stop doing anything different in her marriage. She kept having kids. They kept planning vacations. They kept having romantic evenings. He just wanted more. He was being greedy. Hence why he had a whole 5-year affair that led to a child because of a certain type of sex that he wasn't getting from Mel. So yeah, Marcel, you can't convince me that Martel was committed in his relationship, because he obviously wasn't. He cheated. Hence why he's divorced. Um, Tiffany wanted to do what she wanted to do because she wanted to be nosy, and she wanted to bring up what's in social media, as if that you guys are going to act like what's happening on social media isn't happening while you guys are filming the show. So what she gathered is Sheree is strong. She can handle her own. Da 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 da. I think Marceau also said she's also not quick, or she's also quick to slap someone. Tiffany was like, okay. Now, of course, they were like, Tiffany can have a slick mouth, but Sheree can also learn to tug a wig. Okay, she tugged Kim Zolciak's wig one time. Sheree has never been in any type of fight capacity ever since then. Sheree ain't gonna do nothing to nobody. Good night and goodbye. Um, then Martel just gets up and leave. And Marceau says, so I'm sorry, Martel. No, it's cool. I'm gonna go tell Lou. Tiffany said, you're gonna call Lou to tell him to come fix his wife? No, I'm gonna tell him what happened. Marceau said, yeah, to come fix you. Tiffany really wanted to slap the mess out of Marceau. She wanted to cuss him out, but she's pregnant because she kept on breathing every time Marceau came back with something that was irrelevant, came back with something that wasn't his business. And you say you want to call Big Lou and tell him what happened? You should have called him the moment Sheree told you what happened, because you should have had a conversation with both of them. But you wanted to bring Tiffany in under false pretenses and have Marceau be your backup. Now, next episode, Lewis is gonna get Marceau and Martel together, because I hope that Lewis keep the same energy as he did at the reunion, even though I wanted him to go in more. I don't want him to be passive. I don't want him turning the other cheek. I want him to say exactly what he wants to say to Marceau and to Martel, because you had no right coming at his wife that way. I'm sorry. I said it last episode. Did Tiffany's question was too much? Yeah, but I wasn't upset, because it was conversation that needed to be had. It was drama needed for the show. I cannot say that wasn't needed, because I don't like that people are pretending as if you don't have questions about this relationship. That's not a relationship. That's where I stand. Okay. But y'all, that's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.